Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to the next topic. Okay, so what we have is we've talked about aggregate demand, aggregate supply, long run aggregate supply. That's your model we're going to work off of. And then we looked at fiscal policy and how we can manipulate that graph or that model through fiscal policy. Now we want to look at it through what's called monetary policy. But before we do that, we have to look at the function of money, okay? So one of the functions money has is to be a medium of exchange, meaning we use it to buy and sell goods, okay? Couple things with a medium of exchange: it should be portable, easy to carry, right? So you don't want things like boulders to be your money. Gold really wasn't such a great idea because gold became too heavy if you had to carry a lot of it around. All right, so it must also be divisible. You must be able to make large and small transactions. And last, it must be uniform. The dollar in your pocket must be the same as the dollar in my pocket. The value shouldn't differentiate based on who's holding the currency. Right? So that's the medium of exchange. Again, just being able to go in and buy things is what we're looking at. The next characteristic is a unit of account, or what we call a standard of value. I always call it the ruler of money, right? We use it as a measurement. Okay, so goods are valued in dollars, and we are able to useful denominating of values, which means I can go to Five Guys and see a $6 hamburger, and I can go to Center and see a $3 slice of pizza. And I know that the hamburger cost 2 slices of pizza, right? And then I can measure those things. How expensive is a hamburger? It's twice as expensive as a slice of pizza. Right? And then money must be familiar, divisible, and accepted. Okay, so you must be able to buy something for $6, use a $10 bill, and get $4 change. That should all be easy to do. Okay, then the third characteristic or function of money is it must be your store of value. Okay, meaning money holds wealth. Right, so I should be able to hold the money and use it in the future. So durable, so it can be kept for future use. I should be able to put money into my drawer, come back 6 months later, use it, and should be worth the same that it was when I put it in the drawer. If it starts to lose its value, then it's not a store of value, right? And then we would end up having to use something different as money. And it should be stable. The value of the dollar shouldn't go down, shouldn't go up. And again, when I'm talking about the value of the dollar, I'm talking about purchasing power, right? I'm not talking about what it's worth compared to a euro or yen. So when we talk about the value of the dollar, it's what we can buy with it at this time. Okay, and then money is liquid. What we're talking about here is liquidity and how quickly you can turn something into currency, right? And we'll talk about that later as we go through. Next thing we want to look at is types of money. There are 2 types of money. There is commodity money, which is money that can be used as money, but then used as something else. In prison, they use cigarettes, right? So they trade cigarettes as money, but they could also smoke it. So it had another use other than being money. Gold could be used as money, could be melted down and made jewelry out of it. Salt, things like that. Then the most common one is called fiat money. Fiat money is money that has value because someone in authority, usually your government, says this is the money we're using, right? And if you have faith in your government, then you have faith in the money. This is just a quick little thing that shows you the history of money. You can look at the 9000 BC, and we're talking about mostly barter, right? China, they start to use things to trade. 500 BC, they start to use some currency. It looks like it's in Sweden where they start to first use paper as money, and then we move to credit cards, which I question that as history of money. Then we started to use the cell phone to make transactions, all right, debit cards and things like that, all right. And again, you see here where we're using commodity money till we get up to here where we start to use fiat money, right? Right around here where we turn to paper money, we end up being in fiat money. Right, so how do we define money? So we have 2 broad measurements of money. The first one is M1, which measures currency and checkable deposits. Checkable deposits is money you have in institutions. So what type of institutions would you have your money in? Well, you would have them in commercial banks, you would have them in savings and loans, mutual savings banks, and credit unions. Okay? The key to M1 is this is money that is liquid, right? There's a lot of liquidity here. It's easily turned into cash. Currency is already cash. Checkable deposits are easily turned into cash, meaning they can be easily used to buy goods and services, which would increase our GDP. So if we look at how much money is in circulation, right, how much money is in currency and how much money is in checkable deposits, we can predict how much money we should have in a GDP. Okay? Then we look at M2, which is M1, right? And then things that are less liquid. So M2 is less liquid than M1. What do we mean by less liquid? Savings deposits. Money that's not in your checkable deposit, but it's in your savings accounts. Okay? Small denomination time deposits. Banks have things called CDs, certificate of deposits. They say if you give us money, we will pay you a higher interest rate the longer we have to pay you back. So if it's a 3-month CD, your interest will be a little bit lower than it would be on a 6-month CD. There's a 9-month CD, there's 36-month CDs. You get paid for not spending your money now. If you let them use your money now, they will give it back to you with a higher interest rate. Okay? There are money market mutual funds. If you want to know about that, you can ask me in class. Okay, then the big question becomes, what backs the money supply? And the answer is gold. No, it's not. The money is not backed by gold. Money is backed by the government's ability to keep the value stable. What keeps the value of the money stable? A stable government. Okay? Money as debt. Why is money valuable? Here's why money is valuable. Because in honesty, it's a piece of paper, right? But what makes that piece of paper more valuable than a piece of paper I write on and say, here's $3,000? It's acceptability. It's legal tender, and it's relatively scarce. All right? Couple things we want to note. Prices affect purchasing power of money. So the higher prices are, the less the money is worth. Hyperinflation renders money unacceptable. So we had talked about this in class one day, that if the multiplier could make the money just infinite amounts of money, that would end up causing hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is about 200% inflation in a year. Okay? So your money would pretty much become useless within a year or two. All right? And then we talk about, by the way, if you want to know about a little bit more about hyperinflation, here's a participation question. Ask me about Brazil and Romania. All right, stabilizing money purchasing power. So how do we stabilize that money? We do it through intelligent management of the money supply. Who does that? The Federal Reserve and monetary policy. And then we also need appropriate fiscal policy along with monetary policy to help the economy. All right, so that's your little introduction into money. And now the next thing we'll move into is the Federal Reserve and monetary policy. All righty, signing off.